What's going on, everybody? Good morning, aloha from the sunny island of Maui, and welcome back for another episode of Woven Wings Live, where we bring you wisdom and tools for vibrant living. I'm your host, Gabe Crane. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Rahul Deedwania. And if you enjoy listening to our show, please leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Drop a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know how this story today relates to your own personal journey in life. You can also follow along on our newsletter. You can find links to all our goodies in the show description for this episode. And today we are having an episode I am super excited about. The title is Finding God Through Trials and Tribulations, continuing our theme around God for ordinary people here in season 4. And our guest is Marshall Gillen, a narcissistic abuse recovery mentor, online personality, and creator. And let's just be real. We talk about a lot of positive tools and skills on this show from a variety of different pathways that can help you get connected. But there are things that get in the way in our journey to having a healthy and happy life. And today we're going to be looking at some of those things, I think, in more detail with Marshall. There's a lot of BS that we create for ourselves that inhibits us from being able to experience some of the great things that we talk about and our guests talk about on this show. And so Marshall's going to be taken through his own journey, the work he's doing online right now with men, his own relationship with religion, with God, with Jesus Christ. And we're going to get into all the interesting tidbits related to all of that. So before I go any further, Rahul, how you doing, man? What do you think about our topic today? Marshall, our guest, narcissism, Jesus, Christianity. I don't think we've ever gone like as fully deeply in this direction as we're going to go today.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. I'm doing well. And what you said at the end, that's true. I'm very excited to go this deep. I think that's really what we're looking to do this season and this year. And this idea of trials and tribulations, right? I think they come in so many shapes and sizes. And this idea that, hey, there are things that inhibit us. It's something I've been thinking about personally a lot lately, and maybe a slightly different context, but one that I imagine will connect to what we talk about today. And it's just this idea that, like, what is it that ends up keeping us from putting our relationship with God, with spirituality, sort of at the end of the queue, right? For a lot of us, it's like something we make space for if we have time, as opposed to it being the pursuit, the purpose, and everything else just being everything else that we do day to day, funneling into that pursuit, funneling into that practice, and viewing life from that lens. And I get the feeling that Marshall's really going to be able to speak to that, from a few different angles. And so just looking forward to exploring that and his story and what comes up for us as we take all that in.
Awesome, man. Well, without further ado, I want to bring Marshall onto the show. And for folks who are not familiar with Marshall, Marshall Gillen is a narcissistic abuse recovery mentor. He's the creator of an online community, the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community, or the NARC, which is helping primarily men overcome relationship challenges with difficult ex-partners through a new relationship with Jesus. Marshall, super awesome to have you, man. I know you're there in sunny Chicago right now, or in Illinois, sorry, not the big city, the cornfields. And, man, I just want to say, so I came into contact with your work through my own personal journey, going through divorce right now, having some challenges in my life. I know we've chatted a bit offline about that. I've been very struck by how open and how real and raw you are with your audience, and how much that resonates with the folks who are finding you, and I think are lucky enough to find you. You are speaking to things that people tend to hide under the rug. Tough relationship experiences, dealing with toxic dynamics with partners, being in second guessing about your relationship with yourself. And then through all that, you have discovered this new relationship with Jesus. I've seen videos of you being baptized and, coming into the church. And so I pick up on all these little pieces. You've had this colorful life. You've had careers before this one, and lived in different places. Now you're back in Illinois. Just to start us off, can you give us a little bit of like a voiceover of your journey? Not to toss you like a huge question, but just like who are you and how did you get here, and who are listeners and viewers engaging with as they are listening to your story and hearing your wisdom today?
Yeah, man. First off, I just really, really appreciate that. What a bio, what an opening, and thank you, gentlemen, for like sharing your time and your space here with me, and for all of us to listen into the experience and goodness and the things that you guys are doing. I just want to say, first and foremost, to the audience that's listening, I have been an online entrepreneur since 2014. I've been a professional speaker and a professional speaker trainer since 2017. And I have done a ton of these. I've been very blessed to do a lot of these podcasts. And I just got to say to all the listeners, out of all of them I've done, chatting with these guys offline and behind the scenes, like these dudes are who they are online. Like that's who they are. And so like I just want to give you guys some love and flowers to say I appreciate it, man, because a lot of times people don't understand. You get on these interviews and you have to put on this act when the people you're not really jamming with. It's not that you don't jam, it's just that it's not like a real connection. So I really, really appreciate that. So first off, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say this to all the listeners before we start, just so you guys all know. Marshall Gillen talking about Jesus Christ is about the most upside down thing that you would have ever imagined. There's not 1 second of my entire life before October 20th, 2024 that I would have ever talked about Jesus. Not because I hated Jesus, just because I didn't believe it. Like I consciously didn't believe that. Like it was a conscious choice. I believe in God. I believe in manifestation. I know the universal laws. I understand how quantum physics or mechanics or whatever manifests all these things. But Jesus is not for me. So we can get into whatever we want, but I just want to preface that by saying, listen, if you are listening to this episode, I'm not going to sit here and just pepper you with some Christian thing like you got to do this. Listen, you all do what you need to do. I just hope that we can use this space to further expand our opportunities of what's possible. Maybe there is a different way. I'm 40 years old right now at the time of recording this. And like I said, for most of my 40 years, I was not a Christian. Like I was literally a persecutor of people. And we'll get into this story. I know, Gabe, you asked, are you going by Preacher Paul yet? I'm not yet. If you know the Bible, you'll know Saul went to Paul. For you guys, if you guys don't, we can talk about why the name change is coming. But all of that said, I went to some things here the last about 200 and what it was 90 some days ago now, and I want to be careful about how I talk about this because for a lot of reasons. One is I know a lot of us men are going through some struggles in our life, and a lot of us in our relationships, and we just can't talk about it. And what I mean by we can't talk about it is it's like who are we supposed to talk to? You know, we get in these fights and people ask us, oh, how are you guys doing? It's all good. Things are good. Business is good. The wife is good, right? But in reality, we're dying on the inside. And as high performing men, high achieving men, what oftentimes happens is that we will try to outperform that one area of our life. And we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm listening to you guys going, oh, for all of you listening that have these things in business, but are kind of shying away from these areas of our life, that was me forever. I was shying away from a deeper spiritual connection to what I used to call the God of my spirituality. And so my life looks like, and again, we can dive into as much as you want, but I grew up here in Illinois on a farm. Or I grew up here in Illinois. My alcoholic father left me and my mom while I was 2, threw her through the front door and then left. And my mom was remarried when I was 5 years old to a stepfather who I know now is a hardcore malignant narcissist. We can talk about narcissists for sure because narcissism in today's society is a word that's thrown around all the time, just simply for people who don't like you or for people that you think is a hater. Oh, that guy's a narcissist. Everybody relax. Like, yes, that's a thing, but I want to really get into what narcissism is because I had zero idea what I was experiencing in the last 3 years of my life. I had zero idea why I was an addict my entire life. And it's because I grew up with a man who, no matter what I did, told me I was worthless all of the time. He gaslit me all the time. Again, I don't like to use the word gaslit because I think it's overused. It's a newer term. But growing up with a narcissist that I didn't know about until I knew that there was a problem with them. I didn't know that there was a label or something to kind of generalize that as until a couple of months ago. But I say all that to say that growing up with that stepfather in Sterling, Illinois, on a farm was a really, really tough experience. Led me to violence, destruction, drugs, alcohol. I got a full academic ride when I graduated from high school. I lasted about a semester, dropped out, and I started selling drugs and doing drugs. And that was like my life. Around the age of 23, I was out in San Diego, California. I had been gone for about 2.5 years at that point. In San Diego, I was living in a little apartment that had nothing in it. Nothing. Everything was sold. I only had an air mattress and a computer, and then the computer finally went too. I sold it all for cocaine and Xanax. I squandered. I didn't squander. I took advantage of the school system, and I got a $15,000 student loan that I spent all on cocaine. And before too long, at the age of 23, I tried to take my life. And when I woke up the next morning in La Jolla emergency room, I realized that I was even too worthless to kill myself. At least that's what I was telling myself, based on the years of programming. And so from the age of 23 until 30, I lived as recklessly as I possibly could, as violent as I possibly could. I didn't want to die, but I also didn't want to live. So I got this terrible tattoo. I got a lot of terrible tattoos, but I got this terrible tattoo on my chest that says, "Live fast, die fun." I was like, let's go. I don't care about nothing. And the crazy thing is that the problem with narcissism, again, we can talk, is that narcissism will take away the victim's identity. And in a society where it's hard enough to find an identity as it is, when you have an identity that's taken from you constantly, and you're constantly trying to fill a new identity. Let me go be the star football player. Let me be the straight A student. Let me be the college athlete. Let me be this person, that person. Constantly trying to find an identity. What happened after I tried to commit suicide and between the age of 30 is I struggled looking for that identity. Now, I had a very best friend, and he was a few years younger than me. And he, again, we can get as deep into this as you guys want, but he was originally the first guy that ever taught me vulnerability. I was like 23, 24. I guess I was a little older than that. I was like 26, 27. I meet Dustin, and we become friends real quick. And we're partying and drinking. And, we have these talks, and we're having these deep conversations that I had never had before. I mean, I grew up here on a farm in Illinois. Like, we don't talk about deep stuff to other dudes. Like, what are we talking about? As a matter of fact, at the age of 26 or 27, that was the first time I ever had another man tell me he loves me. Think of that, man. I was like, 26, 27. I never had a man tell me he loves me. When Dustin told me I love you, I was like, bro, whoa, homie. Ease up, dude. Like, we ain't like that, okay? And so I remember that that was the first time I really remember a man tell me about love. And so fast forward a few more years, and it's 2014, and I get a call from Dustin, and it's January. And he had been calling me over and over the last few months. And you guys, I'm not doing anything at this point. Like, I'm a burnout loser. I'm not selling drugs anymore. I'm bartending, but like, I'm using 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm drinking 7 nights a week. Like, when Marshall Gillen drinks, it's all or nothing. And the guy that comes out is not like, nobody wants to be around that dude. Nobody. Like, nobody wants that dude. And so this dude would just cause the most trouble in his life, ruined relationships. I was never a cheater. Never anything like that, but just will burn it down in a second. Like, I'm going to push you away and I'm going to go before whatever. So this is how I live my life. Well, Dustin is struggling in 2013, and I have some phone calls with him, but it gets to the point, you guys, where I don't know what to say to him. I don't know how to help him because I don't know how to help myself. Like, what are we talking about? So he calls me in January 2014, and I see the call and I look at it and I ignore it, and it goes to voicemail. And I answer the phone. It's him crying on the phone. "Hey, Marshall, it's Dustin. Give me a call when you get this back. All right, man, I'll talk to you late." All right. I'm like, "I'll call him tomorrow." Tomorrow turns into this week. I'll call him this week. And this weekend's like, "Okay, I'll promise I'll call him by the end of the month." A month later, call passes. I get a call from his sister at 4:30 in the morning. And she said, "Dustin took his life last night." And so at the age of 29, I didn't know God. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I didn't know what mentorship was. I didn't know what personal development was. I mean, I literally didn't know any of it. I didn't know what those terms were. I just felt in the moment that I had to tell somebody my story, because Dustin was so vulnerable with me, and he would tell me all of these thoughts. And you guys, I had so many opportunities to open up and share, like, my story about attempted suicide with Dustin, and I just didn't because I was too scared. And the thing of it is, you guys, is that I know what it's like, and it's not about me. This is not about me, but I know what it's like to have that moment when you're just so done that you quote unquote pull the trigger. Like I know what it's like to not just idle, like just think it when you're like, do it. I'm gonna do it. I took 53 half bars of Xanny. I did an 8-ball of Coke and I drank a fifth of vodka all in about 20 minutes. That's how I tried to attempt my life. And so if you go back to that moment, I'm calling my mom on the phone, and God, as a parent now, I can't even imagine. It's like 2,100 miles away. And I'm telling my mom as I'm slipping off, unconscious, I'm sorry, Mom, this is what I did, and I'm sorry. Thank you for everything. She's screaming on the phone, Marshall, wake up, wake up. Like, Marshall, wake up. So I know what it's like in that moment when you make the decision, but I also know what it's like in the moment when you wake up. And the first thought I had was, oh my God, thank God. Oh my God, thank God. Which again then was immediately followed by the programming, which was you're even so worthless you can't kill yourself. Now, if I had had the courage to at least just admit that to Dustin, yo, bro, I know that these things seem crazy right now, but I promise you, if you like the thing, and this is for anybody that might be struggling right now, I promise you, the second that I did the thing I couldn't take back, I had instant regret. Like once I was in the bathroom trying to puke, after I did, I was trying to puke. I'm trying to puke and I'm scared to death. Like I'm 23 years old. Like I'm a child. I don't know anything about anything. And I'm terrified. And all I want is my mom. And I'm 2,100 miles away. And I'm like, I'm going to die. Like I'm going to die. I don't want to die. Like I don't want to die. What am I doing? And so I never told Dustin. And I always wondered in that moment when his sister called me, if I had just said anything to him, would it have made a difference? And that was the moment that God started working in my life. And so that's where everything started from. I knew in that moment that I had to tell my story. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know anything about nothing. Now, listen, this is how cool God is, you guys, because a week and a half later, I'm bartending at a bar downtown San Diego. I made this decision that I wanted to share my love I wanted to share my story about attempted suicide and the fact that I love life and I just haven't figured it out yet. So here I am. It's a Monday night. I'm bartending downtown San Diego in this place called Gas Lamp Tavern. So it's like half inside, half outside. So it's like you're all circled around, the bar's all circled around you. And this guy walks in and I can't see, I didn't see him yet. I just heard him from over my back. And this guy's like, you should be a motivational speaker. And I'm like, not in the mood, So I'm like, I think, dang it. So I get up, I turn around. I'm like, all right, I'm going to play the game. Turn around. Oh, yeah, dude. What do you do, bro? And he's like, I'm a motivational speaker. And I was like, oh. And that was, now let's check this out. Watch this, you guys. That was the first time that God had put it on my heart to follow this mission. And you know how long it took me to actually start speaking? 4 years. Because it's just like a freaking human being to get the message, to get the sign, to get the clear thing that we were supposed to do and then not do it. Because we're trying to take control of it ourselves. We want to just take control of it. We want to hold on to it. We want to squeeze it. We want to go in the direction we want to go. And for the next decade of my life, because of that, because of my incessant need to control, because of my incessant need to not be able to let go of anything, it took me 4 years to get to speaking. Then I became a speaker. I made 6 figures, boom, like that in like 6 months. And then it was 7 figures. And then I became a speaker trainer. And all of a sudden, now my clients are making millions. And then it's 2019, and I've helped my clients make over $125 million. I've made almost $3 million from my cell phone, just doing nothing besides smoking pot and talking about your message, and traveling around the world, talking about your message, your message. I started hosting events. I had thousands and thousands of people online coming to me, all these things, people sending me messages. You're saving my life. Like I could go on and on about all the messages that people have sent me about this dude. Is like, he was a Marine. He's like, I was sitting in the tub, getting ready to cut open my wrist, and my dog came in and stepped on my phone that was on the ground. He's like, I didn't even follow you. I don't even know who you were, but the dog stepped on the phone. Your video came up about how you regretted suicide, and I decided not to take my life. He messages me back 3 years later and he's like, bro, I'm like a sergeant in the Army now, and like all these things. Point of it is that God has allowed me to be able to do that. And I say all that to say, not because I'm cool, but because even up until 2020, when everything started to fall apart, I couldn't feel those messages, you guys. Like I would get those messages and I couldn't even look at them. I couldn't even read them. I couldn't even I'm like, okay, like that's good. Like, that's fine. Like, and so the more success I started to have, which this was the number one thing my stepdad taught me. No matter how much success you have, it'll never matter to the people that you want to matter to most. Because growing up, I wanted my dad to love me. And no matter how many games I won, no matter straight A's, team captain, class president all the years, homecoming king, stand out in the community, in the newspaper, it doesn't matter. My dad is not going to show up to your games. Your dad is not going to call you on your birthday. Your dad is not going to call you on Christmas. Marshall, give up because your stepdad is never going to like you. He doesn't like you because of your dad. He doesn't like you because your mom loves you. Now, again, this sounds effed up to people, but this is what a narcissist is. He literally was the meanest person possible to me because he didn't like me because my mom loved me. It was a competition to him. And again, we didn't know any of this growing up. So I say all of that to say that here we are now, this man, and a lot of us men suffer from this, especially if you're around my age, which is like, yo, dude, either our dad wasn't there. If he was there, he was abusive, or if he was there, he wasn't present at all. So as men, what happens is our mother dotes on us because she can tell that. So she's trying to pick up the slack. Meanwhile, we're out performing, trying to get the love of a man or our dad, trying to have somebody be proud of us. And we're surrounded by all this toxicness of people that show up in these grown men who are grown boys that are men. And I'm learning all these bad ways of being. And then when I go out and get in a relationship, what happens? I expect my feminine energy to treat me like my mom, which is dote on me, love me, celebrate me, cheerlead me. Don't you know how hard I work? And it's like, oh, well, nobody told me that my wife is not my therapist and she's not my buddy and she's not like my mom. Like she does. Yes, they want to listen to us to a certain point, but that's not the role of that dynamic. And I never understood that. So I say all of that again to say, here's this man. I thought that if I went out and made a bunch of money, got really well known, helped a bunch of people, had the gorgeous wife, had the 21st floor penthouse on overlooking downtown San Diego. I thought I would have all these things, and that's this. I'm supposed to be happy now, right? I'm supposed to be happy. Well, 2019, I started getting some pain right here, and I thought I was dying of stomach cancer. That was the first time I turned to spirituality. I went on a retreat to Thailand in March 2019. And I had this overwhelming, crazy thought. It was crazy at the time. I got on the plane at LAX and I started crying because I thought something inside of me told me that I was going to die in Thailand. I was like, something told me I was going to die of cancer, like randomly all of a sudden in Thailand, and I was never coming back. I get to the retreat, you guys, and it's a spiritual retreat. Just so everybody knows, up until October 20th, like I said, of 2024, I'm spiritual. I mean, very spiritual. God, all the things, very spiritual. Very spiritual. And it happened on this trip. So I go to Thailand. We do the whole thing for 7 days. My buddy books us 3 extra days to stay and kind of hang out and do the thing. While I'm at this retreat, the host comes out the last day of the retreat, and he's crying. And he's like a big, strong, young kid, like 27, 28, like college basketball player. And we're like, yo, what's up, Travis? He's like, I just got a call from my best friend's wife, and he died last night. He had cancer at the top of his spine that went undiagnosed, and he passed away randomly. At this point, I'm literally in tears because I'm like, yep, spirit's telling me exactly this is what's happening. And I'm like, the tension in my body, you guys, I can't even stand. I mean, the anxiety, it's the worst it's ever been. And I did die Marshall, the version of me did die out there because during the 3 days that we stayed there, I had my first experience with psilocybin. And I hesitate to talk about it now because of how I feel in my belief system now, but I'll give you guys the whole truth. I had a psilocybin journey. I've only one of 2 I've ever done, and it blew my whole world wide open. And I met, well, what I know now, met Jesus that day, but I met God that day. I met God that day. And in that psilocybin journey, I was both Marshall Gillen and God simultaneously having a conversation with each other at the exact same time. In my head, it still makes sense. And I know can't really make sense, but it'd be like literally I'm experiencing consciousness as Rahul and as Gabe and as me all at the same time, thinking the thoughts I'm thinking while he's talking. Like you guys know how it goes, except times like that's how it was going. So then over the next like 8 months, I just went on this journey of dismantling my entire life. I got rid of my training business, which is crazy, multi-7-figure business, got rid of my 5-year relationship, got rid of all of my stuff, and I moved to a cabin in the mountains of Montana to never be seen or heard from again because I was so disgusted with the speaking world. Like, and I still can't even hardly, like, you guys, it's just such a manufactured BS industry. Like, the professional speaking world is such BS. It's so gross. It's so, and maybe you guys know, to the listeners, all your Amazon best-selling authors, all of your top-rated it's all manufactured. You guys, it's all manufactured. None of it is real. New York Times best-selling, none of that's real. It's all people that game the system. It doesn't mean that these things aren't good or that you can't find gold in these things. I'm just telling you that I was on this pursuit to build a platform, become famous, the #1 motivational speaker, best-selling author. Like, Gabe was asking me, what do you want your bio to be? Like, I don't want anybody ever in my bio to ever tell. I don't want anybody to ever know I'm a best-selling author. I don't want anybody to know I've won awards for speaking. I don't want anybody anymore to know that I have 9 figures in client results. I don't want anybody to know any of that about me anymore. I am so done with it. I have made those things the idol of my life. And now here I am again. I leave to go to Montana. I hide out in the middle of the cabin for a year and a half. I get sober finally, all the way sober, no weed, no coke, no booze. I'm freaking awesome. I'm flying high. And I meet this woman who's just, oh, you guys, I swear she's just everything. I mean, to say that she was perfect, it gives me chill. I mean, like, you guys, it was like she was sent from heaven. I mean, everything I loved, she loved. Everything. The sex was just out of this world, dude. Everything was clicking so fast, so fast, so fast. And she's just gorgeous. And she has these 2 kids, and their dad passed away from an OD like years ago. And like, everything's fitting. They even had the dog, everything. And I'm like, oh my God, my life is amazing. And so what happens is, being a dad inspired me to get back into the business world. So here's this man that's made millions of dollars who's now working at a bar in Columbia Falls, Montana, a town of 200 people, praying to make $50 a shift, barely be able to pay my bills, right? How far I've fallen. And then I have this son who I'm driving to school one day, and he says, you know what? When I grow up, I just want to give away a bunch of money to people who need help for free. And I said, damn, me too, bro. That's literally what I'm trying to do. And so literally that was the moment that everything, just like that, I planned an event. I planned my first event in like 3 years. Like, for a month later, I think we had like a $60,000 weekend, and 100,000 and 100,000, 100,000 right back. Boom, no problem. Just back into it. Just cranking top paid speaker. But the first $100,000 weekend I had, I thought that my girl was going to be like, bro, are you kidding? Our life is over. It's set. Like, let's go. But it wasn't. It wasn't like that at all. As a matter of fact, the more success I started to have, the worse the relationship started getting. The more manipulation, the more lying. And again, you guys, this is stuff like okay, so I'm not trying to sound like anything, but like, I used to be in the streets. Like, I used to sell and move weight and do all things. So I have a pretty good sense of reading people, and I know these things. Like, it's hard to get one over on me. Like, I know what's up. Like, I know what's up, dude. And so I just kind of look back on the situation. I'm like, how did I not know what was up? Like, I knew what was up, but there's something about her that, like, it's like she dismantled all of my fire alarms. It's like she unplugged them all. It was wild. And so this 3 years, I'm trying to be top paid speaker, and I'm pretending online, I'm pretending, and I'm doing all things, and things are great, and let's do this weekend and all the things. But really behind the scenes, I am dying. There's nothing I can do that's good enough. I feel like the biggest worthless, most piece of crap man ever. And it doesn't make any sense because my kids, who are actually her kids, they're not my kids, they're both her kids. But even her kids are like, we don't want mom to come back. And I would have to be like, hey, don't talk like that, dude. She'd be gone for a bodybuilding show, and they'd be like, well, what if mom's plane crashed and it was just the 3 of us? And I'm like, do not say that. So what I'm saying is, I don't understand what's going on. 3 years into the relationship, and I'm almost done with this whole thing, then we can all get back to it. It's 3 years, which brings me up right to this year, 2024, this past year. And things are so bad now at this point that I'm only, and I understand, not to trigger anybody, I'm only making about $8,000 a month at this point. And on top of that, because I work from my phone and I'm at home, and because I sell on, like you guys, I sell online. I spent a decade of my life giving everything I could to build the skills and the systems to be able to do this. It's not like I'm like, oh, let's just hang out at home all day, girl. Like, go do the work. I'm paying for everything. I'm doing everything. I run the kids everywhere. I don't even know where you're at. What are you doing all day? So I say all that to say it gets to the point where finally I'm making only about $8,000 a month, which is down from obviously a lot. I'm working 6 days a week as a bartender because she made me feel so worthless and terrible for being home all the time. So I'm gone every night. And on top of that, now it gets to the so bad the last 2 months before I left my relationship, one of my best friends came into the bar and was having a talk with me because his wife went to get her nails done with my ex, and my ex let some things slip, loose lips sink ships, about how her sugar daddy was paying for the nails. And then so Matt tells me, and then I go and I ask Kirsty, yo, what's up? What's this thing I hear about your sugar daddy? And then it's, if anybody listening to this knows about narcissism, then you know what comes next. I was gaslit. Oh, that's not real. It was a joke, all of these things, but I didn't let it go. And so for the last 2 months of my relationship, I'm not allowed to be upstairs with my kids, you guys. I'm not, listen, a grown man being told by his girl, I don't want you upstairs. You can't use the upstairs bathroom. You can't sleep I'm sleeping on a mattress in my office in the basement on the floor. My kids who love me more than anything aren't talking to me. They won't even look at me. They can't stand me. They think that I'm the problem. Marshall put us in credit card debt, boys, and he's taking all of mom's money. So I guess mom's gonna have to be out here prostituting like she used to. Hey, when mom's gone stripping, boys, just know it's Marshall's fault. Like I have it all recorded. Like these are the things she would say. So here I am, and not to be like, I sitting there in my basement, staring at my staring at my 9mm every night, just thinking, because I don't have a car at this point. My car got totaled. I wasn't allowed to buy a new one. So we had to share a car, and anytime I needed to go to work, it became a problem. So eventually it happened. She told me I had to walk to work, which is like, you guys, it's the most asinine thing. It's way worse than it sounds. And it's got to the point where I was like, I'm going to take my life. I'm 40 years old. My personal brand is burnt up. I can't go back online, not with all this stuff. Like my audience has seen too much from me. It's all burnt up. My kids hate me. All of my friends from when I left San Diego and burnt down my life the first time, they all hate me. I don't have any new friends. And the new friends I did have all think I'm a narcissist, lying, cheating, abusive man. I'm just going to kill myself. I don't know what else to do. And the only reason I didn't is because I didn't have a car to get out to the mountains. I just didn't want the boys to come into the basement and find me. Eventually, there was a last straw because when you're in a narcissistic relationship, they isolate you from your friends and your family. So I had unknowingly been isolated from my mother. I had been made to feel like such a mama's boy, like so weak that I didn't even want to associate with my mom anymore, because every time that I would mention my ex, that I talked to my mom or text her, it would be this huge thing. Men are meant to leave and cleave, Marshall. You're meant to take care of your own family. You don't have to be a little spoiled mama's boy all the time. Oh, okay, yeah. So I called my mom, and she told my little sister, who I'm estranged from. Because my stepdad told my sister my whole life that I'm worthless, so she hated me. And I just say that to say God works in funny ways, because I called my mom. My mom doesn't know what to do. She calls my sister, and my sister drives from Illinois out to Montana that day. Sister, I don't even talk to. We're not friends. We're not cool. Like, we don't talk. We don't like each other. And she drives all the way out to Montana. She's such a farm girl, too. And we load up all my stuff, and I left June 23rd, one day before my 12-year-old's birthday. And that was 290 some days ago. And for the last 290 some days, I've been right here in Illinois. 21 years gone. The prodigal son has returned. All the stories in the Bible are crazy, which I know, this channel are not, but crazy aligned with my life. And I have to say that it has been the absolute most painful, but also the absolute most joyful time of my entire 40 years. It's been the best experience. And I know now that it was always supposed to be like this. It was always supposed to be just like this. And that's the story.
Wow. I mean, Marshall, Gabe and I were just sitting here. For those that can't see, we're just sitting here smiling, taking it all in. And, I think just immediately struck by your vulnerability, your courage, just your openness. I can see why there was that calling for you to tell your story, and why that's been magnetic, to so many people, just as it was, I feel like, in this moment to us, just to, go through the waves of your life. And I think, what's really sticking out to me, Marshall, is what you said around, there have been signs, right? There have been these moments of miracle, these moments of
100%.
divine intervention, right? That we're not necessarily able to see in the moment, but from a certain vantage point or the vantage point you're at now, right? You're able to see it. You're able to piece it together to have this story that leads you to where the last thing you said, right? That, hey, there was no other way that this was supposed to play out because this is what got you to where you are now. And there's something just so powerful in that, and a surrender, I think, in that's so different from the controlling, right, that you were talking about. And would love to just focus in on that. Like, what was it that shifted you from that place to to this perspective, right? This perspective that this is how it's supposed to be, right? And I imagine that ties to what was it that brought you into
Yeah,
your relationship with Jesus and your
bro.
relationship with God now?
Wildest thing, because again, you guys, this is not me. I don't believe in Jesus up to this point. Not at all. I don't want anything to do with him. The Bible's cool, and I would make some quotes from the Bible that I heard other speakers say on stage, but I'd always preface it with, I'm not religious or a theologian, but even the Bible says iron sharpens iron. Like, dude, such a freaking whatever. Okay, so let's talk about that, and then we can dive even deeper. So this is what happened. I left the relationship, came home, and I didn't know what a narcissist was yet. The only time I'd ever heard of a narcissist was when she was telling me I was a narcissist, or she was telling me I was gaslighting her. Actually, at the end of 2022, it was gotten so bad that I ordered, and I stayed for an extra year and a half, you guys. I knew 5 months in that I almost left the relationship 5 months in, and I should have. I knew then. But anyways, I even ordered a book about narcissism in the end of 2022. I thinking back now when it showed up, and she saw that in the bedroom, she was probably like, that was probably the actual fracture that ended it, when she was like, okay, now he's public enemy number one. But I say all that to say that when I left, I still didn't know what narcissist was, and I never would have said she was a narcissist. I took full responsibility and blame. And that's why so many men get stuck in narcissistic relationships, is because narcissists don't pick weak men. They don't pick losers. They pick strong-willed men who are providers and protectors, because they know they can weaponize the provider and protector against them. So for example, and I'm getting to a point, every time I was going to leave, it would be, well, just like your dad, you're going to walk out on me and the kids, the boys you promised you would never leave, just like your dad walked out on you and your mom. Gee, another man that leaves. Big surprise. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. So every single thing that I did when I left, I thought I was to blame. My codependency, which yes, definitely, like, so narcissism exists on a spectrum. There's healthy narcissism, and then there's obviously unhealthy narcissism. And we're all a little narcissistic, obviously, as human beings. But especially if you're like an entrepreneur, like we are, we have a little bit of narcissism, and it's like we're overconfident and we think that we're not going to lose, and that's healthy narcissism. There's nothing. But then there's toxic narcissism. However, we know that everything exists on a spectrum. So the thing I didn't realize, and I want to show this to any men, and this is triggering to some people, and I'm sorry, it's just we know energetically that energy has to match these. Like, unlike energies can't exist in the same space. It's not physically possible in this universe that God has created. So we all are vibrating at a frequency, and we know that. And so I would always be thinking, like, how am I existing in this frequency with her? She's the worst. Well, the reality of it is I was just as toxic, because a narcissist will abuse other people to get what they want, and a toxic empath, or somebody that's not healed from that, will abuse themselves to get what they want. Each are equally toxic. Each are equally as manipulative. They're just a mirror of the thing. So when I get out of this relationship, I'm aware of all these things, and I think I'm the problem, and I think I lost my boys forever. And I'm just like, this is all my fault. So what I decided to do was, what that meant to me is, I didn't know Jesus, right? But something was telling me that the man I was up until this point had to go. The man that Marshall was is the type of man that breaks promises to himself and breaks promises to everybody else. The type of man that Marshall was the type of man that said he was going to do something and then doesn't. And so, like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get in great shape. And then here I am a year and a half later, my 15-year-old grabbing my fat handles and going, oh, I thought you were going to get in shape, Dad. Oh, I thought you were going to make $1 million this year, Dad. Which is like, they're not talking crap to me, but they're like, how many times, you guys, to everybody listen to this, how many times in your life do you say something that you don't do? Oh, I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to do this for Lent. I'm going to fast this. I'm not going to eat that. And every single time you do that, you break a promise to yourself. And every time I did that, that's the man I became. And I'm sitting here in Sterling. I've lost everything. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I don't really swear anymore, but I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, you're the motherfucker that lost everything. You, you did this. You lost your kids. You lost your wife because you don't fucking do what you say you're going to do, Marshall. You don't do it. Why? Okay. So with that anger and intensity, look, you guys, anger is right. And I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm talking to the audience, but it's like, you guys, anger is not a bad thing. Anger is needed. In Montana, there's a tree. It's all over. There's a tree in Montana called the tamarack. Now, the only way a tamarack tree can grow is if the tree catches on fire, burns to ashes, and the seed burns so hot that it comes out of the pod and goes into the ground. It's the only way a tamarack can grow. And tamaracks are all over northwestern Montana. If we look at nature, nature is very, very violent. Nothing in nature happens that's not violent. That's how all transformation and change happens. So now if I look at myself and I understand that the universe is working in me and it's all a micro macrocosm of itself, and I understand I have this anger, I don't have to sit here and blame it and judge it and assign this meaning to it that makes me awful. I realized I had to learn how to utilize it. So I get out of this relationship. I've lost everything again. I've lost all of my money, all of my reputation, my family, everything I've ever wanted. I'm completely done. And I just go, I have got to give my life to God. And so I don't know I know where it came from now, but this thought popped into my head. I wasn't sitting there looking for it. It was like, you got to become a living sacrifice for God. Because after all you have done, you're not dead yet. You're living with your mom at 40 years old. Society, that's embarrassing. But I had to reprogram some things in my mind and how I looked at things. What that meant to me at first was I realized that I guess I just assumed that my life was over, like Marshall Gillen's life was over. And because I had nothing, like what else would I had to live for? Like I lost my kids, lost the girl, lost all my money, lost the reputation, lost the business. I don't care. I don't want to speak anymore. I don't want to go be that world. I literally like, God, you could literally take me right now and I would be completely okay with it. I don't want to kill myself, but like I have zero desire to be here. So I realized I'm like, okay, well, maybe God just wants me to be able to use me as a story to be able to help other men. So I start sharing narcissistic content. I make my first narcissist post on September 14th. It gets 5,000 views in about 5 minutes. Without a doubt, the first, I mean, I had 1,000 followers or like 3,000 followers on Instagram. I was getting like 200 views a video, right? After like 4 weeks, 5,000 views. I get so scared. I take it down. I archive it. Okay. Oh, I hope she didn't see that. Oh, I hope she didn't see that. And then I'm sitting around, and then about, a day later, I'm like, okay, I unarchive it. Boom, 15,000 views. Oh, I archive it again. I'm like, okay, dude, how about no? Okay. So then for the next 10 days, I'm going on this walk, and call it what you will, but God kept telling me, you need to talk about narcissism. And I'm like, I'm literally telling God on this walk, I'm not talking about narcissism. I'm not going to be the dude that comes out here. Oh, she was so mean to me and I was abused. Like, I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. So I didn't. I keep going and going and going until it became painfully obvious about day 11 that this is what I had to do. So I make a post about narcissism, and then another one, and then another one. And it's about 2 weeks into narcissist content. My following is now at 10,000. I'm probably at about 100,000 views across the platform, like 2 weeks in. And I'm walking on my walk, and I know that I'm a living sacrifice for God. I know that I'm supposed to be this living sacrifice. And all of a sudden it pops in my head. I'm sober. I've given up everything. I'm following God, and I'm trying to lead other people. Is this what Jesus did? Is this what Jesus did? What? So I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, keep going. So I keep going. The next day is Sunday. I do my walk. I do my burpees. I'm not going to the gym yet. I decided to go to an old cafe that I used to get breakfast at. I'm sitting there. I'm eating breakfast. Breakfast gets dropped off. You guys, it's the craziest thing. This is the craziest thing. I was like, I should go to church. I was like, what, bro? Go to church? Okay, no. And then I was sitting there, I'm like, I used to go to Abiding Word. I think I went to Abiding Word like 20 years ago. I think I went there once. I'm like, I wonder if they're still doing a service. So it's 10:07. I Google every single service in my hometown starts at 10. I'm like, Maybe I'll go some other time. And then all of a sudden I find one last one. Happens to be this church right here, New Life Lutheran here in Sterling. They start at 10:30. I said, okay, I'm going to go. So I go to this church. Now, again, you guys, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to meet Jesus and learn the Bible. I knew on my way to church, something was telling me on the way to church that I had to learn the Bible. You guys, I'd never read this. I don't care about anything about it. There was just something telling me you need to learn the Bible, not meet Jesus, not get saved, not go to church. There was something inside of me telling me to learn. I have to learn what's in this book. And I said, okay. So when I came to church the first time, and one of my very best friends now, Mike, and he would be laughing his butt off if he was around here. He was one of those annoying Christians. As soon as hey, guy. And he's like 10 years younger than me, and he's all like bubbly. Hey, man, what's up? I'm Mike. What are you doing here? It's your first. I'm like, oh my God, get away from me. Get away from me, weirdo, is what I'm thinking. So I tell the pastor who's become one of my good friends now, I said, look, I'm not here to be saved. I'm not here to meet Jesus. I was sent here to learn the Bible. And I walked in and I sat right in front. And I guess that's like a thing that people in church don't do. Because like even to this day, people are like, oh, that's the guy that always, the first day he came, he went and sat right up in front. I'm like, yeah, because I'm here to learn. If I go to an event, I buy VIP tickets so I can sit in front. Like I want I want access. Like I want, give me access. I want to learn. So I show up and I start reading the Bible. I'm about a month in and I'm starting to think, is this what Jesus does? Is this how it works? Is this what God's mission for me is? What is going on here? And then the pastor's like, you can get baptized. We have a baptism. Now I turned 40 on October 17th. The baptism was on October 20th. It just seemed like I am supposed to be baptized in my birthday month at the age of 40. When I got out of the waters, and this is where it's going to get weird for us three now, right? When I got out of the water, I didn't believe in Jesus like I do today. When I got out of the water, I had started something called Sacred Kingdom, and I was giving people the option to believe in Jesus. I was saying, listen, look, you guys, we are the creators of our own universe. We are God experiencing himself as us, and Jesus Christ is a blueprint to the secret to this life. If you follow Christ consciousness and you tap into all of these things, Jesus literally showed us all. The living sun, you guys, sun is God. The rays are the Holy Spirit. And what it does to me is like all these things. I'm trying to analyze it all. I'm trying to break it all down. I'm trying to explain exactly what the Bible really means and what we're really missing, the hidden knowledge, what we're really not talking about. You guys, we're not doing it right. We don't pray to Jesus, all this stuff. And finally got to the point at the end of December where I am like, you guys, I'm in the worst torment of my life. I'm waking up every day. I'm never going to see my kids again. I'm not sure if she's really still a narcissist or not. Stories are coming out weekly of people sending me messages about things she was doing with, their partners. And I'm still trying to find Jesus. I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, I don't know. Is Jesus real? Am I Christ consciousness? Is it a choice? Like, I don't know. And then finally something told me I have to make a conscious decision on whether I'm going to believe in Jesus or not. Meaning, let's take it back to a romantic relationship. We've all heard this. You have to be intentional about your relationship, and your relationship takes work. And I knew that. I've always known that. I was in relationships my whole life where I didn't do the work, and they did. And because of that, I feel like I was put into a relationship where I did the work and she didn't. And so now here I am, December 2024, and I have to make a choice. I started reading this book a little bit, and it's blowing my mind, and I'm reading all these things. And finally, I had to decide, is Jesus Christ credible? Do I believe that Jesus Christ is credible, or do I not believe he's credible? If Jesus is credible, if I believe him is credible, then Jesus is the Son of Man. If I believe that this book in Jesus is credible, then Jesus was a real person. If I believe that Jesus Christ is credible, that he was really born, really died, was really buried, was really resurrected, and really rose to heaven. If I believe he's credible. If I believe the 500 eyewitness testimonies of people that saw Jesus are real, then Jesus is credible. If I don't believe that that's true, then I can believe whatever I want. I can believe in Allah. I can believe in Buddhism. I can believe in Christ consciousness, and we are all one, and everything is the law of one. I can believe in all of that. I chose to believe in Jesus Christ. The reason is I did everything else. I did Christ consciousness. I did Buddhism first. I did all the yogis. I've done Ayurvedic medicine. I went vegan for 2 years, plant-based. I've done all the things. I've gone sober. The only thing, the only thing that Marshall Gillen has never tried was Jesus. So I said, okay, I'm going to believe. And when I made that consciousness, oh God, it makes me want to cry right now. When I made that choice, you guys, I had to believe, I had to choose to believe something I didn't believe. It doesn't even make sense. That's like waking up in the morning and choosing to believe that the sun is green. I'm like, that's yellow. Nope, that's green. That's yellow. Nope, that's green. And finally, the more that I started to invite that idea into my head, it became like so obvious that I'm just now, my friend Mike and I laugh all the time, and he laughs at me. I'm like, how did I not see this the whole entire time? How did I not get this the whole entire time? And that's how I arrived at my faith in Jesus, is that I did everything else. And all I did was read this book. That's it. That's all I did. And even now, if you follow my content, all I tell people, like I get so jacked on this book all the time. I'll be like, oh my God, did you guys? And they think it's so funny in the church because I'll be like, did you guys read Samuel 2:6-1 yet? Like, that's crazy. And they'll be like, oh, they think it's so funny. I'm like, did you know the Bible says? And they're like, yeah, bro. And I'm like, I'll be like in the gym, like listening to a sermon, and I'll be going through this and highlighting stuff, and I'll just be joking. I'll be like, is anybody reading this? Have you guys read? Nobody's actually read this. All of the answers to the test are in here, just so you know. Now I don't go anywhere without it. There's two things I never leave the house with: my Bible and, well, my gun. But those are things I never leave. And my Bible is always right here. And it's like everything for me personally, at the age of 40, every single thing that I need to know is here, right here. I mean, literally, the Bible tells me everything that you could possibly need to know, everything. And the more that I look, the more is in there. I'm still trying to battle through an addiction. I started smoking pot again at the end of December, because I miss my kids. And I still miss them, and they're not my kids, but it's like I miss them, and it's a struggle. That's something I'm literally right now struggling with. I got sober from everything, and I started smoking again in December, and I'm struggling with it right now. And so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know Jesus is going to deliver me from that. I know that I'm already delivered, just as I had to wait those 40 years to be delivered to this moment. I know now that soon I'll be delivered from that. But I just want full transparency. I'm not sitting here going, da da da, and you guys, and I'm completely sober. Like, no, I backslid too. And like, I still struggle, and I still am in the word, and nothing has made me feel more at peace than that, which is what Jesus brings to us, is peace. Because even with Christ consciousness and all the other things, it's like, yeah, I did all that meditation, but I was never able to truly, I could say whatever I wanted, and there's plenty of videos of me out there saying it, but I truly never had any peace. None. It was always the woman or the job or the business. You guys, I make good money. I don't worry about anything right now. And I don't mean that like, I can't even explain it. I can't explain it. It just, if I choose to believe this book is credible, then it tells me everything I need to know. God will provide my provisions. He is my shelter and my refuge. I have nothing to worry about. Be anxious about nothing. In prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, ask for it and you will receive. It's like, if I believe that Jesus in that book is credible, then I have nothing to worry about. And it's also, I have nothing left to prove. And what's happening now? 250 million views across Instagram, 250,000 new followers in the last 6 months, making more money from my phone than I have in a long time. And I don't do anything all day besides talk about Jesus. It's not like I'm in the DMs hustling. I'm not hustling to make content. I'm not out grinding and hustling. I host 5 events a month here in Sterling. I host a Bible study every week. I host prayer group every week. I mean, I have multiple events. I'm leveraging everything I learned in Top Paid Speaker. The years and years of grinding and hustling, it all gone. Now, again, maybe I'm just better than I've ever been. I don't know. Maybe I'm just so skilled now. Maybe I'm just so mature. The only thing that's changed is Jesus in the Bible. And all I have to do is just give it to him and then get out of my own way. And so, long story longer, you asked me, Gabe, when we started this, are you going by Preacher Paul yet? Or are you Marshall Gillen? Until I am delivered from my marijuana addiction, I am Marshall Gillen. The second that I kick that, which is happening, I will be Preacher Paul, because Marshall Gillen does not exist. This man is not me. My life is no longer my own. And I'm not saying this to sound cool or anything. I only wear black now. I won't wear anything but black and only red shoes, because I am a sinner And there's nothing I can do to change that. And I don't want to. I don't need any colorful clothes to draw attention to me. I don't need anybody to know who Marshall Gillen is. As a matter of fact, Marshall Gillen will not exist anymore. There will only be Jesus. And when the Lord calls me home, I am ready to go. Because I have not, you guys, and I mean this still today, like I have nothing to live for. What? You're going to give me $1 million so I can do what? Where am I going to go? Do what that I haven't already done? You're going to give me a penthouse for what? Supercar for what? I mean, like, I just don't care. I don't care. You're going to give me money? If you give me money, I'm just going to give it away. If you give me, like I do, I feed people, all of my money goes right back to my community. And not, again, because I'm cool, because I just, what else is there? There's nothing else to live here for. There's nothing else. And again, if you read the book, it tells you what. None of those things have ever made me happy, never brought me peace, never brought me joy. The more that I had, the less that I had. So I'm not denouncing wealth. I'm not denouncing abundance. I'm not denouncing going out in prosperity. I'll say this one thing. I'll share this one thing, and then we can expand on this. I want you guys to think of it like this. This is what a relationship with Jesus is like. Let's say that you go to dinner with Jesus, okay? And you guys go to the most expensive restaurant that there is. Like one that's so expensive that it even makes your butt pucker up a little bit. Like when you look at the menu, you're like, oh no, maybe I'll just get soup and salad, okay? Now, I want you guys to watch this. You sit down and you're looking at Jesus, and Jesus starts ordering everything off the menu. Like everything. He's picking everything. Escargot, caviar, lamb chops. And then not only that, he's ordering for everybody else. He's going, get them that and this and this and this. And you're freaking out. Because as humans, we think that Jesus is going to stick us with the bill. Surely God's going to stick with us with the bill. I have to do all the work. Now, Jesus would never stick you with the bill. Jesus would never order, God would never order something and then stick you with the bill. It doesn't work like that. So what happens instead is he pays for everything. However, that's because he wants it. Like God's going to pay for the things that he wants. However, if I go to the restaurant with Jesus and I'm like, what do you want? And he starts telling me what's on the menu and he starts ordering. And I go, no, bro, trust me, you don't want that. Get this, this, and this. Guess who's going to pay for the bill? Me. Because this is the way that God is. Now, I rarely say God anymore because I believe that Jesus is God. But for the sake of this conversation and to meet people where they're at, God is never going to make you pay the bill for the things that he wants from you. The reason that we can't hear what God wants from us is because we don't slow down. Even in the Bible, it says, be still and know that I am God. That's because God wants us to slow down and experience life. We're not human doings, we're human beings. And so I actually read a passage, not to get all nerdy on you guys, but there's a story when Noah is bringing the Israelites out of slavery, out of Egypt, and they've just escaped Egypt, and now they're lost in the desert, and they're freaking out, and they stop for a second to rest, and they rested a little too long, and now all the Egyptian soldiers are catching up to them, and they're literally about to get got, like they're about to kill all the Israelites. There's literally nothing, there's nowhere to turn, and they look to Moses like, what are we supposed to do? And the Lord says to Moses to tell the people, God will fight for you. You only need be still. And when I read that a couple months ago, I was like, dang. I was like, let me try that. So I know I have all the skills. I know I have all the things. I put it in place, and then I just let go and I sit back. And I let him start to take care of everything else. And so why I say all that to say is like, that's the thing that changed everything, is that I stopped trying to do everything on my own. I stopped trying to be in control. I stopped trying to forgive myself. I stopped trying to love myself. I stopped trying to do all those things because as a human being, I can't do that. Like, you guys would agree that God is so divine and so perfect. I mean, look at this design. I mean, were you kidding me? Like, God is everything. God is everything. I mean, every single beautiful possible thing God made. How could a wretched human being like me, who still smokes pot and judges people and swears and wants to go slash my neighbor's tire because she hit my car and we're the one that got blamed for it? Like, those are things I want to do, right? That's natural. That's humans. How could that ever be in the presence of a God that made everything? It's not possible. We're not worthy to even be in the presence of God. So in honor to do that, what do people used to do? I'm Mexican. So what do Mexicans used to do? Used to chop people's heads off the top of the pyramid and roll up and sacrifice, make a blood sacrifice. What does every person do for years? They sacrifice animals. So the idea of a blood sacrifice is not that crazy. But if I tell you that God, because he loves man so much, gave us 10 commandments. God loves us so much, he gave us the law, and he gave us the law to prove to us that we're not good enough. Here, bro, do all these things. Don't kill, don't do all these things. Oh, you still did them? Yeah, psych. It's because you can't not do it because you're human and you suck. So then what's the story? Jesus loves us so, or God loves us so much. He's like, I'm gonna let you guys twirl in the wind for a little bit. Are you guys sick of it now? Okay, great. Now I am going to fracture myself. I'm going to become human, but I'm going to have to adhere to all the human rules. I'm going to put myself in the avatar. I'm going to go into the game on the earth. And since I'm in my avatar suit, I have to play the game by all the avatar rules, even though I'm God, which means I have to eat, I have to sleep, I have to die. I have to do all those things. I'm going to live a sinless, perfect life to show you that you can't do it. And then I'm going to kill my son and I'm going to shed his blood and I'm going to sacrifice him for all of mankind. And then all you have to do is believe that I loved you so much, I gave you this blood offering in this universe. And that's what I believe. And that's how I got here. And so I know that that's a different approach for a lot of people, but that's how I met Jesus.
Marshall, I love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
A few things sticking out to me that I just want to highlight for people reflecting, listening. The concept of a living sacrifice and you were just talking about the blood sacrifice, the sacrifice of Jesus, or the Aztecs or Mayans chopping off heads and making offerings, or the ancient Israelites offering goats and sheep and oxen. Like, to live your life as a sacrifice, to be in service to something greater than yourself, to the world, to other people. In the I Ching, which is the Chinese book of changes, there's like the hexagram 50, the cauldron, to be sacrificial, to make your life about something that's not your own, and the power that comes from that, and the inescapability of that. You can't, there's no substitute for that. If you're living your life for yourself, then it might seem justified, but it's selfish and it's ultimately going to foot you with the bill, as you said. But when it's about something bigger than you, then that's when energy starts to flow the way it's supposed to. That's when the purpose of life starts to come into focus and place. I
Yeah.
also think a lot about just love. That's what I feel listening to you, man, hearing your story, feeling connected with you, and like the personal story. You share so much about your life and your childhood, your stepdad, and like the love and the absence of love, and the need that we have for love, like and especially as men, that we learn a lot to not show that love, to be closed off, to not receive that love. And like, I'm not as well versed in the church as you are, but the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, a fatherly love, a love of a parent to a child. What does that feel like? Love is something that touches us. It's something that we reach out and touch someone else with, this thing, this, not a thing, a quality that heals everything. And how can we live without that? And so I'm just very touched by everything you shared. And I'm sure, I mean, if you're listening to this, I mean, it's a tour de force, just let it go in, like, I don't know, like, let this experience, like, whatever it moves for you, if you're listening to this, like, what it's supposed to guide you towards. And I'm not the guide for that. I think there's something broader than that is available to us here. But you touched on at the very end there, Marshall, that line from scripture of be still and know that I am God, or be still and God will fight for you. And so if you're listening to this, I want to invite you to be still and let in some sort of awareness of something, some sort of message, those little premonitions that you described so many points in your story, Marshall. And I'm curious, Marshall or Rahul, if it pops into your mind too, man, but like, just, or not maybe your mind, your heart, your being, but if we are still in the wake of this tornado, this tour de force of storytelling you just shared with us, Marshall, what do you feel is the important message to convey right now? And what is it that should be shared now?
So I built my entire brand on your message is your message. That was what my whole life was built on, because it gave me purpose. In a life when I didn't feel like I had any purpose, it gave me purpose, which turned me from a bad man to a good man. It made me want to be good. I wanted to share what Dustin and I went through, and I wanted to make sure that no other man ever had to go through that again. And so the first thing I want people to take away is that your mess is your message. Okay. What I'm not speaking yet, but I'm going to hit the speaking road again soon. Um, and the revised message is your mess is his message. So the point being is this: I'm going to share one more story through scripture, because explains what I think that I would do after listening to this tour de force. I like that. Kind of feel bad too, but I like that. Um, I started a church myself. It's called 15-7 Church. It's a digital congregation. And soon we'll be also a mobile ministry. So I'll have an RV and we'll be traveling around and doing work. But point of it is I started a church called 15-7. And in the Bible, there's a story in Luke 15, chapter 15, verse 7, of the lost sheep. And the story is like this: if you have 100 sheep and lose one, will you not look for it until it's found? Will you not leave the 99 to go find the one? Very truly, I tell you that in heaven there will be more rejoicing over one sinner who repents than the 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Meaning that God loves you so freaking much, no matter what you have done, no matter who you have been, no matter where you have gone. He loves you so much that he will leave the 99 righteous people and he will search for you until you are found. And when he finds you, he will rejoice. As much as you and I rejoice when we find something that we lost that was found, we call our friends up and go, "Dude, Gabe, I found it. Thank God I finally found that thing." God does the same thing. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling so broken and so far from God that you just think there's no hope left for you at all, you don't have to believe in Jesus yet. But I'm telling you, if you go down, if you start to read this book, it's gonna change your heart. It's impossible for it not to, especially if you're a broken man like I am, because Christ meets us in our brokenness. I've never been met in over $250,000 invested in personal development, events, coaches, masterminds, all that. I've never been met in my brokenness like Christ met me there, and he found me. And so what is my thing? This is what I'll tell you guys if you're struggling right now. It's the same thing I tell my narcissistic men, because I don't come out going, "Gee," well, I guess I do now. But these are the 4 things you need to do. I would say for many men struggling. Number 1 is you got to get sober. I was completely sober. And even when I smoke, you guys can't really tell I smoke because I have ADHD and diagnosed ADHD. And so when I smoke, I'm like on point. I just believe that Jesus is bigger than that. And that's why I'm trying to let go of it. But you need to get sober. You need to get 100% sober. You need to get in incredible shape. You need to get with God. And then you need to get with a group of men in community. If you do those 4 things right now, if you're struggling through a relationship, I don't care what you're going through in your life as a man, get sober and get in great shape. Why? Because those 2 things are going to allow you to become the type of man that doesn't miss, that no longer breaks promises to himself. Because when Marshall Gillen had nothing, when everything was completely taken away, the only thing I had left that nobody could take from me was the fact that I never miss on my habits and routines. You must be the other guy, which is why your life looks like it does. I don't miss. At first, it came out of anger, but now I'm able to be at peace and love because I developed those habits. So you got to get in shape, get sober. Next thing is you got to get with God. Well, how do I do that, Marshall? You find intentional times to start building a relationship with Him. I met God in Montana in the wilderness. I was big into like the Lakota and all the Native American stuff. And like, that is how I met God. My God I met in nature. I met mother first. I met mother first and then father. And so if you're like, how do I get with God? Dude, turn off your phone and go out in nature as often as possible. Get your feet on the ground, drink real living water, not purified water, not all that spring water, real natural spring water. Drink spring water. Okay, so sober, get in shape, get with God, and lastly, find a group of men. Well, I don't know where to do that, dude. Online. or your local church, or an addiction counseling thing, or something. Oh, there's not one in my community. Then start one. Start one. Like I have so many men that are across the country now that are starting their own men's groups all over because they're watching me do it. If there isn't one, then build it. That's it. That's the 4 things I got. Get sober, get in shape, get with God, and get with other men. And if you do those things with intention and you start to try to get rid of those things that limit you, get rid of the bullshit vices, all those distractions, the pornography, the lust, the drinking, the drugs, the gambling, the gossip, all the things that you just may think make you who you are, they don't. Nobody cares but you. Live for God, and then God will live through you.
Marshall, just want to thank you, really want to thank you for bringing your story, your energy, your wisdom, your perspective, your aura, to our project. I think it's really been special just taking it all in, and I'm noticing, to Gabe's question, like, hey, what is it that's coming up for me, right? I think what you said in that last that last message kind of hit what I was seeking right at the very beginning, right? Which is, hey, what are all the things that lead to putting our spiritual evolution at the end of the train, right? And it's all those things. It's all those things that you listed
Yeah,
that give
because
us temporary comfort, and
right.
yeah,
The more so, like you guys, like, from a spiritual standpoint, we know that we're like 50 trillion cells that are just vibrating next to each other. We're not even connected. Like you
yeah,
can literally see right through us, right? So I'm like, if my body is an antenna to a frequency, doesn't it just make sense that the cleaner that my receiver is, the stronger the reception I can get? And that's how the whole thing started. I was like, if you have a battery that doesn't work, you take your terminals off and then you wire brush them to kind of get the corrosion and the rust off, and then you put the connection back on, and it's a good connection. That's what getting sober is. That's what being still is. And the more undoing, people are like, why do you do 100 burpees a day? What do you get from it? I'm like, it's not what I get from it, you guys. It's what I lose from it. It's what's taken
mm,
away. That everybody's like, but more, more, more. No, you guys, less, less, less. You guys, if you got rid of 95% of the shit in your life, the habits, the routines, the stuff, the things that you think matter, they don't. They do not matter. And you're going to find that at the crux of it, all we want to do as a human being is get high. That's why people get high. They want to get spiritually high, but they don't know how to. And the world is not set up for us to have a deep spiritual connection. So we get high in other ways. It's human beings want to be high. So get high on spirituality. And again, it's a conscious choice. You have to intentionally make that choice to be high with God.
Marshall, I just want to thank you, man. Thank you for taking your time out to drop your knowledge and wisdom, your experience, your humility. And if you're listening to this, I hope that you are opening yourself to attune with whatever piece of this information is true for you and resonates for you and is right for you right now. You keep following that, it's going to lead you somewhere good. It might go through some twists and turns. You're talking about nature, Marshall, the river coming down the mountainside. It's going to hit some rocks. It's going to go left. It's going to go right, but it's going to keep going down the mountainside towards the ocean. And I hear that in your story. I see it, feel it reflected in my own story. And I'm just really grateful, man. I'm really, really grateful to have gotten to spend this time with you today. And thank you for just sharing of yourself so openly and real. I want to encourage folks to check out Marshall's work online. Again, just look him up, Marshall Gillen. You'll find him. Instagram, social media channels. Check out his online community. If you are a man struggling with relationship challenges, if you are dealing with narcissism in your life, if you need support of one form or another, I mean, let's be real, as men, we need it. And there are so many forces and factors that guide us to not get that help. And I think we've heard some chilling and sad stories today about the effects of that if we really don't take ourselves up or take God up on that offer or take our friends up on that offer. So reach out, find some help. You can find Marshall's community online, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community, the NARC. And yeah, I just, on that last note, I had a friend, Marshall, my friend Dave, he died not from addiction or stuff or despair. He he was a very Jesus-like in the spirit of just service and community guy, and he died in a workplace accident a few months ago.
Ugh.
I'm so grateful that I got reconnected with him in the months before his death. We exchanged some messages and talked on the phone. And I think about your friend, Dustin, and sharing his story. And so I just want to put that out as a last call. If you are listening to this, who do you need to call in your life and tell them that you love them and that they're not alone? We all need that. And so
Amen.
on that note, I just want to say thanks y'all again. Marshall, do you have any last little one-liner or thing you want to drop on us?
No, this has been
Bravo.
amazing. I
Yeah, it
just thank you guys very, very much. You guys have been awesome. Even though I did all the talking, but you guys have been great. I appreciate it.
was awesome, man. I love it. Like usually we have different formats for our show, or there's like more back and forth. I just look, man, just let's press play and let's see where this goes. And it was freaking awesome. So, Bravo, you have
Good.
any last thoughts you want to share or anything before we wrap up
No,
here?
just echoing what you said. This is great. Really, really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. Hey, hit subscribe and leave them a review. Don't forget, you guys.
Awesome. So, yep, you heard Marshall. You got those links below. Leave us a review, follow us, get with Marshall online, and we will see you next time. We
Later,
will
guys.
catch you out there. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.